We're broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
Visit MTE.com.
Middle Tennessee Electric, serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the WGNS Action Line. Talking with Rutherford County newsmakers
since 1947.
This is the WGNS Action Line. Now, your host, Scott Walker.
Joining us live in studio, we have Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Only mayor for just a few more days, Scott. This is our final show together, at least for me as mayor, right?
Yeah, a few more days. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. The new mayor gets sworn in the night of the 31st. He takes office that following Tuesday morning, September 1, which is next week.
Yeah.
The county commission is having their final commission meeting for this term tonight at 6 o'clock. So this is it.
Are you looking forward to, I don't know, are you going to slow down? What's the plan first?
We were talking off air before we got on here about my attempts at slowing down. I tried to go. I haven't had a vacation where I actually went somewhere with my wife or family in probably 30 years or more. I don't remember the last time. My wife told me a few months ago I'm a workaholic, and I just kind of rolled my eyes, and then she just looked at me and said, "Okay, Captain Know-It-All, when's the last time we went on a vacation that wasn't work-related?" And so
vacationing is kind of important.
It didn't take long for Captain Know-It-All to realize he had been on a vacation. So my wife and I went on a vacation for 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We took our RV and went out west to the Tetons, Glacier, Yellowstone, Badlands, Wind Cave, those national parks. And then we did a couple of state parks. And in typical workaholic fashion, I turned 2 weeks into work
the whole time.
But so I'm going to have to practice a little bit more about taking a vacation. But it was good. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to turn the keys over to Mayor-elect Randy Allen.
Well, you should go out there and travel a lot then, and just make the most out of it.
I do. I think it's time. I'm 68. I've worked all my life. I've had a full-time job literally since I was 14. And that's all I've known is work, and I get a great deal of satisfaction out of working hard, and accomplishing things that other people could not or would not do. And I think I've got a long record of doing that, and I'm very proud of our record, especially as mayor and the team of directors I had the pleasure of serving with these last 4 years. I inherited this team from Mayor Ketron, and I kept every single one of them, and I told them what I expected and what I wanted and what the vision was. And I can tell you, Scott, I get emotional about it, because this group of men and women that I get to work with at the director level and at the department level that this county has as employees is absolutely phenomenal. I was assistant commissioner at TDEC. There are good people at the state, but the people here in Rutherford County and when it comes to the passion they have for their county, the love they have for the county, and how they're devoted to serving this county, they have no peer or no equal. They are that good.
You ought to make a new goal to where travel is like the future, and I don't know, maybe start blogging about where you're going, what you're seeing, doing, all of that.
Now, wait a minute, Scott. Do you actually think, after my resounding defeat, I mean an overwhelming 2/3 of the voters rejected the direction this mayor was taking the county, do you think they really want to read about my adventures on vacation? I doubt it. I think the voters sent a pretty strong message that they thought the effort, the sacrifice, and the accomplishments were headed in the wrong direction. And I heard that loud and clear, and I take no offense at it. It puzzles me. Because if you look at our record, it has no equal in county government across the state of Tennessee. And the laundry list is quite extensive. But the voters made a decision, and I'm going to respect it. We're going out with our head very high because of our accomplishments, our effort, and our sacrifice, and I'm proud of that.
People would read your blog. If you were to travel across country and just write about the different places you go to, and interactions you have, it'd be interesting.
Well, my wife certainly loves to travel. When I was a small child, my dad was, I think I've shared this, my dad was in the Air Force, and so we moved around a lot. And I've been to probably 24 different countries. I've been to like 45 states. And so by the time I got married, I was traveled out.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set down some deep roots. Conversely, my wife never got to travel a lot. And I think before we got on the air, we were talking about only 2%. I did a little AI search. 2% of all Americans only 2% have visited all 50 states. The vast majority of Americans never leave their home state.
Isn't that wild?
Ever.
That's
and
wild.
I'm going, how, that's sad to me, because not just because of the great diversity of this country in so many different ways, but it expands your horizons. It changes your perspective on things. It opens your mind up to new ideas and new ways of thinking and new ways of appreciating this country and this people. And it's sad that people get trapped in the paradigm of just staying where they've always been.
I've met adults over the last 20 years or so who they own successful businesses, but some of them, in fact one in particular, she told me she's only been to Kentucky. Tennessee and Kentucky, the only two places she's ever been her entire life, and she was in her 70s.
Wow. And that is, to me, that's, I understand that because I'm in that place now in some respects, but I will tell you, Scott, I don't want to be in that place. I am going to force myself. I'm going to have to practice taking vacation.
Yeah.
And that sounds funny, but for me, I mean, I love to work. And even when I'm relaxing, the way I relax from my mayoral job is I go to the farm and I work. Yesterday after work at the mayor's office, I go home and bush hog. And that's bush hogging or mowing or working on the farm is how I relax from working at the mayor's office. So for me, I think I'm out of balance a little bit. And so I want to, especially, at 68, 43 years of marriage, it's time that my wife and I spend time together that she can enjoy. Not that just suits my addiction of being a workaholic.
Yeah, my son and I used to try to take a trip on our own every year, and then we'd take a family trip as well.
That's great.
But yeah, we would always go to interesting places, and then as a family, we'd go to interesting places. There is so much to be learned by traveling, and it does open your eyes in ways that nothing else could.
That is an absolutely true statement. And the truest part of that statement is that nothing else could. Traveling and meeting different people, seeing new places, there's no substitute for that, for opening up your mind and what's available to you is just individually and how that can help you grow personally.
And with air travel, stuff is so close. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can find yourself on the other side of the world within 14 hours. It's amazing.
You can be in Australia tomorrow within 24 hours. Yeah, which is the other side of the world. And if it weren't for that 16-hour one-way flight, that's someplace I would.
I'm a little
really
impatient.
Like.
I'm a little impatient.
That's
a
a
little
long
tough.
time in a seat.
Yeah. But Israel, and then there's other fascinating places too. Like there's off the coast in Mexico, of all places, there are these massive statues that are in the ocean.
Wow.
That you have to scuba dive down to see, and it's kind of creepy looking.
I bet it is.
But it's interesting.
So is it on the Pacific side or the Gulf side?
It's on the Gulf side.
Gulf side.
It is, yeah. And it's pretty far down. I guess it'd be close to, what is the big area that all the people used to travel? It's close to that area. Go out a little ways in the ocean, but it's close to that area if I recall. But man, for example, there'll be one of the statues is a statue of, it features like 20 people just standing there underwater. And some of the statues are 30 feet down, some 50 feet down.
How do they say they got there?
They put them there with a purpose, and that purpose was to create reefs.
Oh, okay.
But man, it is fascinating.
It's kind of spooky too.
It's spooky, but it's definitely interesting to see. I think it's called Musa. And I think that stands for something, but it's stuff like that. And, there's pyramids that you can still climb
Yeah.
today and climb to the top of them. Of course, I don't know if that's still the case because, all these different countries that still have pyramids in existence, they were talking about a couple of years ago about shutting them down to where people could not climb to the top of them.
That's a shame.
But it's worth doing before they do shut them down.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you're just giving examples of all that's available if you will just leave. You can come back.
Yeah.
You can come back. Just go and experience what God's given us.
Yeah, but you got to do it.
Got to do it.
Because it
won't come to you.
No. But it is definitely worth doing.
So we did our 2 weeks. We got back. Nobody died. Jenny and I's marriage still intact. We still have.
That's a good sign.
Well, it is, but I'm kind of laughing at it a little bit because neither one of us knew how old Captain Know-It-All Joe was how I was gonna react or respond, and so it's good, and so. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to finish out this term. Again, we're going to meet the commission's meeting tonight, and I'm sure that Chairman Phillips will have a long presentation for all those who are leaving and departing and all that kind of stuff. So pat themselves on the back kind of thing, and they'll extol the virtues of how wonderful they've been the last 4 years.
Well, speaking of the last 4 years, something interesting unfolded in nearby Bedford County with the whole contract between Shelbyville and Bedford County. And Shelbyville's been paying Bedford County, I think, like around $2 million a year over the last, since like 1974. And they wanted out of that contract.
So what was the contract for?
It was for Shelbyville to help pay for a portion of school construction.
Okay.
And the contract was indefinite. There was no exact date for it to end.
Oh, and let me guess, Bedford County didn't let them out.
Bedford County did not want to say goodbye.
That was an easy look right
That's
there,
right.
brother.
And Shelbyville's been paying them, again, like $2 million a year. But they said, we're going to step out of this arrangement beginning in, I think, 2027. And it went to court, of course. And Bedford County lost.
Wow.
Shelbyville won. Then it went to the appeals and went through the entire appeals process. They still lost. And Shelbyville is getting out of the contract of paying Bedford County around $2 million a year.
Wow. Okay.
When I saw that, I thought to myself, what about the county schools, the city schools? What about City of Murfreesboro versus Rutherford County, Smyrna, Rutherford County? I mean, what kind of contracts with schools and stuff do we have in place?
Our situation, I think, is different. I'm not real familiar with the Bedford-Shelbyville situation. I don't believe Shelbyville has a city school program. They're not an LEA.
You're right.
And that's the difference. It sounds like Shelbyville offered to contribute parts of their revenue toward the county school system, which they all share. The difference there is Murfreesboro has a K through 5, 6 school system, and they have about 10,000 students. Murfreesboro is not required by statute, law, or anything to have a school system. They just chose to do it. So if Murfreesboro wanted to dissolve their ability to be in the K through 6 education, they could do that quite easily, and it would just unwind it, and then it would become the responsibility of the county. Conversely, Murfreesboro doesn't contribute directly financially to the Rutherford County school system, but every time Rutherford County issues a bond for a elementary school, Murfreesboro, I believe, gets 15% of that bond. And so when we build a elementary school like at Plainview, example, and if we bonded, let's say, I don't know what the numbers was, let's say it was $60 million, so we bonded $60 million, we would have to give Murfreesboro $9 million of that, even though Murfreesboro didn't send any kids there.
So you're saying to me
that's by statute.
If I decided,
I think I'm saying that right.
If I decided to go out there and get a loan for my house, if I had a program like that set up with my next door neighbor, I'd have to give him like 15% of my new home loan that I'm planning to build a home with. So he could renovate his home. That's interesting.
Isn't it?
I've never heard of an arrangement quite like that.
Yeah, it came out of a ruling out of all things, no kidding, Shelby County.
Really? Okay.
As a result of Shelby County. So it's on the books. It's state law, and there's nothing we can do about it. But that's the arrangement.
Wow.
And Murfreesboro takes that money very, very seriously.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money when you talk about the cost of a new school these days. What does it cost? $80 million to build?
Yeah, but
something crazy like that.
Yeah, a new high school, depending on the size of it, it's anywhere from 150 to 200 million. A middle school is probably depending on the size, 80 to 120 million, and elementary school would be in the 60 to 80 million range.
Man, and that price has only gone up over the years. It's insane how much it's gone up.
Exactly.
I think it was 20 years ago, it was like $14 million to build a new school, and that's what we were looking at and projecting. And the next thing you know,
if you remember, now you won't, but when they built Riverdale and Oakland, they built both of those for $25 million.
Yeah,
and we just completed a renovation at Riverdale, Oakland, Smyrna, and Laverne, and it cost the renovation for those four was over $200 million.
See, now, and there's a good example right there, because we brought, I guess, the wheel tax is what helped to pay for those schools.
It did, exactly.
And so could a situation...
Riverdale and Oakland.
Yeah.
That's right.
So could a situation arise there to where, somebody could say, hey, we paid for Riverdale and Oakland now. That's out of the picture, therefore...
That's true, but that was I think that has to be done by referendum. And, of course, it's difficult to get a ballot referendum moving.
Yeah.
But, that $200 million in high school renovation in the last 4 years was along with another $200 million that we built Poplar Elementary and Poplar Middle School. So this county has invested over $400 million in capital improvement projects just for our schools in the last 4 years.
And at that new Plainview, the location of that is, well, they've got enough land to continue building on, right?
They do. They have room for not a high school the size of Stewart's Creek or Rockville, but they have room for a high school of, they think, about 1,500 students out there. The issue is that, believe it or not, that where Plainview School is my grandfather's on my mom's dad's old farm.
Huh.
And I was amazed that they put a school there, because I remember as a kid, it's the middle fork of the Stones River, runs right through the middle of it, and it floods like crazy. I'm going, how in the Sam Hill are they putting a school there? But they did, and they built it up. They got a pad, and now we have a public safety building out there as well, right next to the school.
I've been there. I've seen it. Yeah, looks great. And that whole area has changed a lot. In fact, whenever a new school is built in Rutherford County, what comes next are a lot of new houses, neighborhoods, and so forth.
So you build a school, and they will come.
They will. It's like the Field of Dreams.
That's exactly. They will build they subdivide all the way around it. Absolutely. And which is why it's very important that before we build the school, we improve the road network. And so for the first time, we are just now doing that. We're doing a long-range study for road building projects in the county, the first of its kind. We started this process about 1.5 years ago, and we're now doing a long-range study to determine what roads and infrastructure we need to build out before we build another school or before a large subdivision goes in there, so we don't have to do it afterwards. So
infrastructure is an interesting topic, because as rapidly as things are changing, I mean, at some point or another, we're going to start to see changes in the way people commute to work. And we're already, during COVID, we already saw a huge downturn in the number of commuters and a huge upswing in the number of people working from home.
Yeah, and business and government has found out it didn't work real well.
Yeah.
And so now that business and government saying, you know what, the productivity, the efficiency, the accountability wasn't there, and so you got to come back in. And it's not much different than is it easier to teach a child in a classroom, or is it easier to teach a child at home by himself? And I will tell you, there are a number of kids who do well. Homeschool kids were homeschooled that do well, but there are a lot of kids who can't learn in that environment. And so they got to come into school. They got to come into work. And I think just for the accountability and productivity's sake.
Yeah, there's no
generally
way.
Speaking, that's not universal, but generally speaking,
there's no way I could have been homeschooled. It just wouldn't work. My ADHD brain would not function well in the house.
Would you believe? If you have
you're going to say those ADHD folks work better at home.
They do.
Man.
I'm just telling you.
I can see where that would help a lot of people, but I couldn't.
All you got to do is you just channel the stimulation you need. All you're saying is I need to be stimulated.
Yeah.
I just can't sit there, and sitting there drives me crazy. I get antsy. And too, Scott, let's be honest. We have found out, especially in the last 20 years, boys and girls learn entirely differently. And this public school system is geared towards teaching the method that suits young girls, ladies.
Yeah.
It just is. And it's hard on boys to learn in the public school system when the curriculum and the approach is geared around girls. And because girls and boys learn differently. They do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then the other aspect of that is the social interaction that you receive being with other kids on a day-to-day basis. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Too many kids these days don't know how to interact.
Young boys need to wrestle, and I don't mean violently, but they need to fight, and they need to be physical and engaged. And what school system is going to allow little boys to be little boys like that?
Not very
We're
many.
supposed to sit there, be still with your hands in your lap, and don't say anything.
Yeah.
Boys can't do that.
No, it's
counterintuitive.
It's impossible to do as an adult boy.
And so of course, boys are always the discipline problem.
Yeah. I do think, and if the schools could get back to doing maybe more field trips on a regular basis, that hands-on stuff is huge.
When I was a kid, we used to have them all the time.
Yeah.
We had them all the time. So I don't know. But I know that Rutherford County, the school system under Dr. Sullivan, is doing a phenomenal job, and he deserves a tremendous amount of credit. I don't know if you know this. Well, you do know this. I saw it on WGNS Network. Central Magnet School is the #1 high school in the nation now.
I saw that.
And I think all of our high schools, we have 8 high schools that are in the top 25% in the state. And so that Dr. Sullivan and his team of administrators and teachers and parents deserve an incredible amount of credit. Having said that, I'm going to brag for a second. What Dr. Sullivan's done at the school board is a direct reflection of what we have done the last 4 years. Again, we're one of 2 counties in the entire state with all 3 AAA bond ratings. We've never had that before. We have the strongest balance sheet of any county in the state, bar none. The growth, our fund balance, which is like a savings account, is the largest it's ever been. We have doubled our savings account since I became mayor. And so we've done this by building a forensic center, building a transfer station that has solved the solid waste crisis when Republic closes Middle Point landfill in the near future. So we have done an incredible amount, and moving this county is the premier county in the state by any metric you want to define.
And when you look at the county school system, we're now the 4th largest in the entire state.
That's right.
And I picture that changing to where we're going to be the 3rd largest at some point soon.
Well, we're catching up to Knox County now. I mean, we've passed Hamilton County. We're catching up to Knox County. I do believe the growth is starting to flatten out a little bit, and that's a good thing. I do believe strongly that the balance sheet, the financial condition of the county is so strong right now and has improved so much in the last 4 years that Mayor-elect Randy Allen is literally sitting in the catbird seat, him and this next commission. They have an incredible opportunity if they will manage it wisely. There is no reason, none whatsoever, that for the foreseeable future, I'm talking about years down the road, why this commission and this mayor should ever have to propose a tax increase. That's how solid it is.
Again, with us this morning, Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr. And when you look at the direction of our county, and then you look at some of the other fastest growing counties in the state, you've got, of course, Wilson County, Williamson County.
Yep.
I mean, these are other areas that are growing. And when I look at Wilson County, I really do see kind of like what Rutherford County once looked like in a lot of ways. I mean, I see a lot of things there that we used to be here. And I see Wilson County growing to be another Rutherford County.
I think Wilson County, though, is a little different in this regard. You're right. They're like 10 years behind us, 10, 15 years behind us, and they saw the mistakes we made when back in the 90s and early 2000s, Scott, we opened Rutherford County up R15 development, and it was a wild, wild west, and homes went everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was no plan, no vision for how the infrastructure to support all that new construction. And so we have this serious congestion problem that originated 30 years ago when the developers came in and they built these affordable homes, but the infrastructure never came in after it, and certainly wasn't there before it. I think Wilson County has said, wait a minute, we too can have the growth that Rutherford has, but we need to manage it so it coincides with the infrastructure that is necessary to support that growth. We didn't do that. We've been doing that since I became mayor, but it's a hard task now because we're coming in late with the idea that, you know what, when you build 1,000 homes somewhere, it needs road improvements, it needs fire, it needs EMS, it needs schools, it needs all this other stuff.
I was surprised to read an article about talking about how, different areas of the state have different amounts of wealth, and Wilson County, the wealth that is in Wilson County, talking about the residents there, they are surprisingly wealthy compared to a lot of other counties across the state.
They are.
I mean, like number 2, I think, in the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do have that, and I think that's because of their proximity to Nashville. That Mount Juliet, which is really close to Nashville, demographically is different than Laverne, which is real close to Nashville. If you think about it, they're just demographically different, and so I think that's the wealth gap you're seeing is between Mount Juliet and Laverne.
I do wonder what is next for Eagleville, because that's one of those areas that I could really see growing a lot in the near future.
Well, the mayor, Chad Lehman, and I have talked about that along with the city manager. Eagleville is probably the most unique of the 4 municipalities in Rutherford County, because what they want is they want to retain what they have. In other words, they have the only K through 12 school, and the whole community revolves around that K through 12 school, and they promote and advertise their rural culture and rural nature. It's very farm oriented. It's very farm friendly. It's almost like stepping back in time a little bit, but it's very progressive in the way it approaches about holding on to what they deem is important. And I'll be quite honest with you. I think what Eagleville has is extremely important to the rest of Rutherford County, because it reminds us of where we came from. And I think it's always important historically to remember where you came from, because it helps you define where you are so you can see where you want to go. And so having Eagleville as this rural community is extremely important, and I hope they always hold on to that.
And then just a few miles away from Eagleville, you can go into Nolensville, and there, man, talk about traffic jams.
They are trying to be a city. And you're exactly right. And I'm going, and that's sad, because Nolensville, in my mind, should have been more like an Eagleville.
Yeah.
But they chose a different path.
And
and now they're suffering. And I think they're suffering for it.
Yeah. It is surprising. It can take you an hour to get through maybe a 5-mile stretch of roadway going through Nolensville.
Are you serious?
It's insane.
Yeah. Is that not what we call Nolensville Road?
Yeah. And when you say Nolensville Road, most people think of Nashville. They don't realize
it goes to Nolensville.
There's an actual Nolensville there.
Exactly.
And the way it's just kind of sandwiched between 840 and then Bell Road. I mean, that's if you keep going, that's what you eventually reach. But it is insane, the traffic that goes through Nolensville, and the problem is they can't widen the road really any much more, because you've got businesses on either side of it, and there's only so much room for new homes and neighborhoods.
Yeah. And so what is it they're after?
I don't know.
In doing that, I wonder. I don't know what they're after. I mean, obviously you have Brentwood and Franklin that have already given those things, so why not offer something different? And that's the great thing about Eagleville. Eagleville offers something uniquely different. than what Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne offer. And all four offer something genuinely different and unique, and all four mayors do a phenomenal job in their community. My relationship with them over the last 4 years has been great. I have absolutely and thoroughly enjoyed working with Chad and Jason and Mary Esther and Shane. You couldn't ask for a better set of mayors to work alongside, because they truly believe, like I do, that what's good for their community is also good for the county.
Now, do you foresee Summerly Parkway ever going into Nolensville? I've heard.
Yes. So, and Mayor Mary Esther has taken a leadership role. Congratulations to her. She's now the president of the GNRC, which is the Greater Nashville Regional Council. And there will be a connector road from Smyrna over to Nolensville. Absolutely. And that's going to be a while in the making, but it is on the board.
Another big question that I think a lot of people have: what's next for the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office and a new jail? I mean, did we purchase land? Do we have land yet for a potential new jail?
So what it is what's funny is we, again, and I've said this 1,000 times, we tried to, over a period of several months, like 6 to 8 months, tried to reach out and speak with the owners of the property about purchasing the property. They wouldn't return our calls.
Wait, which property?
The property on 231 South, right next to where the juvenile detention center is and the correctional work center. There's 54. Right, yeah. There's 52 acres there.
Where the old fairground used to be.
Yes, exactly. And it's owned by a trust for tax abatement purposes. They use it it's for tax purposes. There's never been any desire to build it, develop it, or anything. So we contacted them. They rebuffed our calls. When we told them that we were Rutherford County, they then put it on the market. They put it on the market and listed a price. We offered them what they listed. Then they pulled it off the market and started taking offers. And this is all while they wouldn't speak with us. And so,
is it a family trust? What is it?
I think it's a large family trust that deals in commercial real estate. The family lives in Atlanta, Georgia. The trust is managed out of Nashville, and they have a lot of property in Nashville that they manage. So it's not like a family farm or somebody lives there. This is for income producing purposes. But anyway, so we have filed a lawsuit to condemn the property for the purpose of giving them fair market value. We're not stealing the land. We're not taking the land. We're going to give them fair market value based on what the court determines that is. And so we have filed a suit for eminent domain for the public purpose of building a new jail.
And there's no homes out there or anything like that?
It's an open, no, there's no homes, there's no barn, it's an open 54-acre open field.
And the family behind the trust, or is it a business behind the trust, or if it is a family behind the trust, are they already, I mean, do you know anything about their makeup? Are they wealthy? They're
extremely wealthy. Do you remember this? Now, this is what I've heard. So I don't know this to be absolutely correct, but this is what I've been told by various sources. Do you remember the show Driving Miss Daisy?
Yeah.
The Worthington family.
Okay.
That's their trust.
Interesting.
Out of Atlanta. And they're very, very wealthy, which is great. I hope they make a lot more money.
Yeah.
But the fact is this isn't anybody's home. It's nobody's farm. It hasn't been they've owned this property for 30 years and done absolutely nothing with it. And so
it's not even cut, I don't think, is it?
No.
So what is that fair market value that Rutherford County is saying we're going to pay you this?
I'm not going to obviously can't get into the details because we're in litigation, but we made an offer. They never even responded to the offer, and which was what they were asking, quite honestly. And then they put it, when they found out it was Rutherford County government, then they put it on the market, and which is their right. And so now we've sought a lawsuit to get the court through a jury to determine what the value is so that we can purchase the property.
I mean, it's got to be fairly valuable being on 231 South Church Street.
It's very valuable. It's very valuable.
So that potentially...
But again, I go back to, there are people, the naysayers out there, especially a handful of people on the commission. You know who they are. They're the same people who whine and complain about everything all the time. they said, well, we're going to raise taxes. No, we're not. We designed and built this jail with a price tag to ensure that we would not have to raise property taxes. That's how strong our fund balance is.
So will the existing jail on New Salem Highway, will that one remain open once this new jail is built?
So and that's why we want to build at a new location. We can continue to operate there. Then when the new jail is built, then we just literally move everybody over to the new facility, which is what, two miles away or less. And then the next commission will have to determine what they want to do with that old jail and that property.
And at the same time, I know there's a push by a lot of counties out there, I guess, filing suits with the state of Tennessee saying, hey, take your Department of Correction criminals to your prison and don't leave them here.
Well, the problem is that by statute, where they committed the crime and where they're tried is where they're incarcerated. And so all but literally a handful, there's 1,050 inmates in there, literally a handful of those inmates are what they call state prisoners that can be relocated.
Yeah.
All the rest of them were arrested, tried, and convicted in Rutherford County, and as such, we're responsible for their incarceration. So the rumor out there that the state's not taking our prisoners is not exactly correct. I know that some commissioners like throwing that out there, but they absolutely don't know what they're talking about, because according to Sheriff Fitzhugh, the number of incarcerated prisoners that the state has here that weren't convicted here is like a half a dozen, or plus or minus.
So the number of those who actually are convicted and then sentenced to, like, let's say 20 years in prison, those are the ones, though, that do have to be sent to whatever nearby state prison is.
It does depend on the nature of the crime.
Right.
All right. But the vast majority of people who are arrested, who are in jail, are people who don't make bond.
Yeah.
And so they're here waiting their trial date. That I would say that's most of them, Scott.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, I could venture to guess that it's a huge number of them are literally waiting for trial.
And you know that the mental health crisis has created serious strain on corrections. That old jail wasn't built for that.
I didn't even know we had a mental health. No, I'm kidding.
Your testimony to the mental health crisis, Scott.
That's it.
God love you.
Joe Carr with us this morning. Right now the time 9 o'clock, and we're already out of time, but thank you for joining us.
Scott, thank you for 4 years of what you do for this community. God bless you, brother.
Definitely. Go travel.
Tell your dad I said hello.
I will do it.
From brakes and alignments to new tires and wheels, Tire World, locally owned and operated in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling.
Online at tireworld.us.
I like water aerobics.
Margaret Ordabadian chose Adams Place.
It's been a great boon for my health to have water aerobics. The pool is a saltwater pool, and the instructors are all geriatric trained.
And then they have stretch and balance to help you keep from falling.
I'm Terry Deal. Call me for more information about Adams Place, 1927 Memorial Boulevard.
Call Adams Place today at 615-904-9111.
Interest rates continue to make the news. But what if you need a new car or truck to get to work? At Heritage South Community Credit Union, we help when others won't. And we can help get you a break from your interest rate when purchasing anything that rolls or floats. This includes newer used autos, boats, RVs, motorcycles, and more. But hurry, this limited time offer ends soon. You can learn more or apply online at heritagesouth.org. Terms and conditions apply. Insured by NCUA.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Since 1936, MTE has provided the reliable service and peace of mind we count on. Manage your account anytime at MTE.com or through the My MTE app.